Hello, and welcome to Ruth Reacts to Books. I'm your host, Ruxie Ruth McGouth. This is Season 2, Episode 26, and today I'm reacting to Veronica Mars, Mr. Kiss and Tell by Rob Thomas and Jennifer Graham. So, you may have heard of Veronica Mars. She is an intrepid detective from the hit TV series Veronica Mars, played by Kristen Bell. Amazing. So this is the second book that was written. It takes place between the third and fourth television series. So the first through third season follows Veronica Mars through her high school years. And then in between the third season ending and the first book beginning, she goes to college and law school. And so then the first book picks up after she gets out of college. She comes back to Neptune, California, where she lived during the first through third seasons. And then there are these two books. And then the fourth season picks up after these two books. And so I am a purist when it comes to either reading books or watching shows, and so I have to watch them in the right order. So I insisted on reading the books before watching the fourth season. And so this is the second book, and what I'm going to do is read you the back of the book. I'll tell you my rating. I'll tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, and then I'll tell you about a food that I've put a recipe in the chat that I think goes along with the book. I'll tell you about my nails and why I picked these ones out to go with this book. Let's get started. All right. Gutsy, wisecracking sleuth Veronica Mars is back with an edge-of-your-seat case at one of Neptune's most murderous locations. The Neptune Grand has always been the seaside town's ritziest hotel, despite the shady dealings and high-profile scandals that follow its elite guests. When a woman claims that she was brutally assaulted in one of its rooms, then smuggled out and left for dead by a staff member, the owners know they have a potential powder keg on their hands. They turn to Veronica to disprove the woman's story. But the case is a convoluted mess. The accused employee is no longer in the country. The security footage shows the woman entering the hotel, but there's no evidence that she ever left. And the victim is someone from Veronica's past who has no good reason to trust her. And as Veronica works to fill in the missing pieces, the one thing that becomes clear is that a dangerous predator is still on the loose, and that he is one step away from striking again. Dun, dun, dun! All right, so I gave this book 3.75 stars. I liked it a lot. So I do appreciate, so Rob Thomas, I don't know about Jennifer Graham, but Rob Thomas is the creator of the Veronica Mars television shows, and then him and Jennifer Graham wrote the books. He is not the singer from Matchbox 20. Instead, he is a Hollywood author with the same name, FYI, in case you're wondering. Often gets mistaken, though. They have the same name, and they're both famous-ish. I mean, he's famous-ish. The other guy's super famous, right? So, what I liked about this book, I obviously really like the Veronica Mars show, which I was introduced to by my friend Kevin Hathaway. I appreciate that very much. The character of Veronica Mars is very cool and sassy and interesting and fun. She's very smart. She figures out a lot of stuff. She's very gutsy, like they said on the back, which I appreciate as a girl character that's gutsy. So I appreciated that. The book brought some of our favorite characters back into the mix. She's working with some of her friends that we know from the old show, and they kind of figure out how to weave that in a way that makes sense instead of just being random. So I appreciate that. And then they also weave in some new characters, which is really cool. And I think from what I'm seeing in the TV show, there's maybe some missed opportunities because these are people that they've never had. So they could easily have cast some of these characters into the new show. There's one in particular from the books that I haven't seen. I've watched a few of the episodes of season 4 since finishing this book. And there's one in particular that comes to mind that pops up quite a lot in the books that I think they could cast like kind of a quirky, interesting person into that role that I haven't seen. And so yeah, I think the new characters and the old characters and just Veronica Mars in general, the story itself, yeah, it's a mystery story. It's kind of like, I feel like the book itself would be probably a season of the show because there's an overarching mystery she's trying to solve. and she's working on it throughout, and she kind of is in and out with different people. So yeah, it was a decent mystery, and she works. It's not the kind of one where you're trying to figure out who it is, because she already figures that out, and she's more like trying to figure out how to catch that person. And that's what you're kind of watching throughout the thing, is like, how is she going to work with the right people to trap them? And then of course there's a bad guy, but then in the story there's also other people that kind of get in her way, just in the way that they do in Veronica Mars, where other people want credit for things, or they want to take the glory, or, because she's working as a PI, it's more challenging when you're a PI to get access to information. So I thought it was a good book. Highly recommend. Highly recommend the TV series as well. All around, if you haven't taken a look at it, start with the show. After season 3, get the books. So what I didn't like about the book, though, I don't know, I had a weird feeling like it was kind of like in limbo a little bit, like almost the characters were getting a little stale and they weren't sure what to do with it. And they almost needed to like cut some of them loose, in my opinion, and start with some fresh ones. So that's kind of where I was a little concerned with some of the things that were going on. So that was the only thing I really didn't like, because 3.75, it's pretty high star rating. I really liked the book a lot. So for the food that I picked, I went with a loaded veggie nachos recipe. There's like a rooftop bar and restaurant in this story and I just thought, like, I was remembering a time when I was at a rooftop bar and their kitchen was closed. Like, there was some issue with the oven, but they were able to get us nachos. And I was just thinking, nachos is like kind of so I was trying to think of like an elevated nachos recipe, and this kind of loaded veggies nachos, kind of healthy, got some veggies, good for everyone, meat eaters and vegetarians alike. So got a loaded veggies nacho recipe for you. I just had some nachos earlier this week. They were delicious and had some healthy stuff. My youngest won't eat veggies, but he did agree to have some lettuce on top of his. So there we go. It's green anyway. For my nails, so these are called Luxe Decor. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. There's like, I don't think you can see it on here, but there's like a pattern on the nail that's kind of, it's sort of it reminded me when I looked at it of like a pattern that you might see on like a hotel floor or like a hotel lobby. And I was feeling sort of like with this hotel. So in this book, there is a specific thing that's really critical about this hotel. Like a big part of this has to do with this hotel. They talked about in the back, like the fanciest hotel in Neptune. And so this fancy, I don't know what you'd call it. What do they call it in the design shows? I don't know. It's a specific, I think it's so small that you can't see it with the light that I have on here. Anyway, it's a fancy little design. Maybe it's like a chevron design sort of, but it's really fancy, and it reminded me of what would be in a hotel. So that's why I picked these nails. They're called Luxe Decor. I got them out of one of my subscription boxes for Colorstreet. So that's what I got for you this week. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like my videos. I love all of you. I will be back next week with a 5-star review for a series that I got introduced to. So stay tuned. I'll hope to see y'all next week. Love you. Bye.